Welcome back to Nexus Tech. You know, sometimes a single day can tell you everything you need to know about an entire industry. Today, we're unpacking one of those days, an extraordinary 24 hours in gaming that perfectly captures the brilliant highs and the really troubling lows of where things stand right now. So the date is November 4th, 2025. For us gamers, it was an incredible day, a day of pure celebration. But behind the scenes, a completely different story was unfolding. A conflict was brewing that tells a much, much darker story. It's a day of just stark contrasts, and it reveals a deeper truth about the state of the entire industry. Let's start with the good news, because honestly, for players, it was an absolute feast. We're talking about an unprecedented flood of high-quality, long-awaited games all landing at once. And if you're a fan of strategy games, well, it was like a holiday. Get this, not one, not two, but three massive blockbuster strategy games all launched on the exact same day. I mean, that's the kind of thing that can totally redefine a genre's place in the market. Let's break them down real quick.
Okay, first up, you've got Football Manager 26. After taking a year off, the absolute king of management sims is back, and it's had a serious upgrade. For the first time ever, it's running on the Unity engine, which promises a huge leap forward in everything from graphics to physics. Big deal for that series.
Then we have Europa Universalis V. It's been 12 long years since EU4 basically changed the whole grand strategy landscape. This new one covers 500 years of history, from feudal courts all the way to colonial empires. It's aiming to be the new gold standard for the entire genre.
And rounding out this strategy trifecta, the brilliant Age of Empires 4 finally makes its debut on the PlayStation 5. And this is a huge moment, right? A franchise that was pretty much locked to the PC is now fully optimized for the DualSense controller, opening it up to millions of new players. But the good news doesn't even stop there. The very same day saw the full console launch of Satisfactory. Now, this game has had an absolutely incredible journey starting way back in 2019 as a PC early access title and now arriving fully formed on both PlayStation and Xbox. And look, this isn't just some small indie game. Satisfactory is a critical and commercial behemoth. We're talking a 91 on Metacritic, and it was crowned PC Game of the Year at the Golden Joysticks. It's a massive win for creative, complex games hitting the mainstream. So on the surface, it looks like a perfect day, but that's not the whole story. Because while players were celebrating all these amazing releases, a very, very different story was breaking. And it's a story that forces all of us to ask a really difficult question about the real cost of making the games we love so much. On the very same day that gamers were rejoicing, a major crisis erupted at one of the world's biggest and most secretive studios, Rockstar Games, the developers of Grand Theft Auto. And it really put a spotlight on the growing tension between developers and management in this industry. Just take a second to read this. This is the official statement from the Independent Workers' Union of Great Britain. It is an absolutely damning accusation, alleging that something deeply troubling was happening behind all the celebratory headlines for their next big game. So what you have here are two completely opposite stories. At the heart of it is this conflict. The union alleges that a recent wave of layoffs specifically targeted employees who were organizing for better working conditions. But Rockstar's parent company, Take-Two, fired back, saying that terminations were for gross misconduct and had nothing to do with anything else. Two completely opposing realities. So here's the breakdown of what's being reported. Somewhere between 30 and 40 employees were let go from Rockstar's offices in the UK and Canada. And according to the union, every single one of them was part of a private group that was discussing unionization. Because of this, the IWGB has announced it's pursuing legal action. And look, this isn't just a story about one company. The situation at Rockstar is really a symptom of a much larger paradox happening across the entire gaming industry right now. We're in a time of unprecedented financial success that somehow coexists with deep job insecurity for the creators. You can see the two faces of November 4th laid out right here. On one side, you've got these blockbuster launches and successful indie ports making millions. On the other, dozens of layoffs and a looming legal battle over workers' rights. It's the entire industry in a single-day snapshot. And this chart really visualizes that paradox, doesn't it?
Industry profits are soaring to record heights, driven by all these incredible games. But for so many of the people who are actually building those games, job stability remains terrifyingly low and dangerously volatile. So, what does this one single chaotic day actually mean for the future of gaming? Let's try to connect the dots and look at the real impact this has, both on the people who play the games and the people who make them. For us players, the takeaways are pretty clear. First, we are living in a golden age for deep, strategic games. Second, niche PC genres are successfully making that jump to mainstream consoles, which is awesome. But third, it's becoming impossible to ignore the human element anymore, the stories of crunch and labor disputes behind our favorite titles. And for the industry itself? Well, this day confirms the huge commercial power of the strategy genre. It completely validates the PC to console pipeline as a winning formula. And maybe most importantly, the events at Rockstar are accelerating the conversation around unionization, pushing what was once a fringe topic right into the spotlight. Understanding days like this means seeing all the connections, the link between blockbuster games and the intense pressures that create them. It's about getting past the launch day hype to really understand the forces that are shaping this entire industry. To keep digging into these trends and the technology that's shaping our world, make sure you're subscribed to the Nexus Tech channel. It's the best way to stay up to date with us. Okay, so let's bring it all back together. November 4th, 2025. It wasn't just a day of big releases or a day of bad news. It was a day that held up a giant mirror to the entire gaming industry. And what that mirror showed us is an industry that's in the middle of a really complex, messy evolution. Right now, we are living in a paradise for players, with more choice and more quality than ever before. But that paradise is being built on an increasingly unstable foundation for the very people who create it. And this leaves us with a really crucial question, one that isn't just for developers or executives, but for all of us who love games. As we dive into these incredible new worlds, how do we reckon with the human reality that exists behind them? How do we balance our joy as fans with our awareness as consumers?